We kill about 110 people on our system every year. And I mean to use that word in that way specifically, because a lot of the fatalities that we have in our system are completely avoidable. 55% because of drunk and drug driving, another 30 to 35% with speed as a contributing factor, another 15 to 25% with distracted driving. Before, we used to tell everybody our system is 100% safe, except for these people who are doing these things that they can avoid doing. We thought if we educated people, it would make it better. The problem is, it never worked, but we kept trying it. So now we're trying something different. Now I'm saying, I know people are going to drive drunk. I know they're going to speed, and I know they're going to drive distracted. So I'm going to put these speed mitigation measures in place. So when you mess up, you don't kill anybody. It's because we know people are going to be people. They're going to choose to drive drunk. They're going to choose to speed.
What triggered the need for these raised crosswalks was, again, people were speeding where they shouldn't be speeding. And what has happened is several people got injured or got killed. Are these raised crosswalks really working? We were asked to do a speed study. Ed, knowing that we were doing a lot of work in public education with teachers and students, he wanted to do something around artificial intelligence. But then at the same time, he wanted us to incorporate students into the project.
So earlier this year, around I believe it was February, we were asked to install AI cameras at Pali Highway. 5 locations, about 12 cameras in different locations, and before and after raised crosswalks. So during the first half of the entire series of workshops with the students, they worked on the actual data from AI-based speed sensors. It included thousands of lines of data, and then they kind of visualize the data, analyze themselves, kind of finding what the most important things are and what are the core findings are, and telling the story around the findings, and then put them together in the presentation.
Yeah, with the crosswalks installed, the fatality risk is lower, therefore less people will die if they get hit by a car. As you can see, with the crosswalks installed, there's a much lower fatality risk.
There's clearly an upside to having multiple raised crosswalks on a single road and or on a single stretch of roadway, and that it can keep the community safe from tragedy.
Max, from your perspective, where would these be most successful?
The most populated areas with the most foot traffic, because there's people going in and out.
Roads where you generally observe people speeding more, and in areas like school zones and stuff.
Find out where most people are dying and do some work to make sure we can save lives. What's a better way to do this?
Maybe find the root cause of your issues.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Cooper said, I always think the preventative is way better than, learning with when it comes to people dying.
So what we did with the students was create a 16-week program, and we call it Storytelling with Data. And then we had a second component, which was a design thinking component, where we asked the students to help us just totally rethink. Right now, the state of the art to slow cars down is to use a raised crosswalk or a speed bump. That's kind of the gold standard. And so we challenge the students to help us rethink, how do you actually improve safety?
My idea was to put little buzzers in people's cars. If they reached an unsafe speed, the buzzer would keep going until they slowed down.
As we know, Hawaii has a lot of potholes, and I was thinking of just making a few fake ones as an illusion on the road. Hopefully make some people slow down. But
ultimately, all of this was to collect data and to show the effectiveness of these raised crosswalks, which has tremendous good information for Department of Transportation highways, but also for legislators and for the community to understand. These types of solutions are actually very effective. We're bringing relevance to what students are having to do in the classroom. In all of these projects, the teacher is so key in making the connection between a real-world project, technologies like artificial intelligence, and how it actually connects to the work that happens in the classroom.
And I look forward to talking story about what the next cohort's going to look at. Would love to build on some of the ideas that Max and Cooper had come up with to make sure we can keep moving this forward.
It's very easy to look at any project in a very narrow way, but I think it takes an enlightened kind of leadership to look at a project and realize, so who's this project for? And why is it important? This is a real project happening in their communities, and the students are a key part of that. They're not a fixture. Again, as I mentioned, the students help us to understand the community because it is their community.